I'll review this before I post it. Even y'all, Chief Prepper here. I thought it was a prudent time to do a video and talk about some things that I've talked about in the past. I'm going to be doing this while I eat my first portion of pumpkin pie for the season. It's probably bad for me, but fuck it. Never know when I might not make it to the next pumpkin pie season. This is a 2-pound gourmet pie. So, man, it's good. I talked about a paradigm shift years ago where we will possibly stop going to work and we will focus 90% of our energy on security and food and maintaining whatever shelter you have. So Travis from the Prepared Homestead recommended that if you have the means to make sure you top off your preps. I said top off your fuel, your water, yeah, that's good. I picked up 5 cans yesterday, 5 cans today, topped off 2 propane tanks, and I'll do 5 cans tomorrow, 5 cans the next day. So, having said that, that will give me fuel for a little while, and that will primarily go towards the generators. And I've listened to Prepper Nurse 1 for years, but I don't listen to him too much anymore. But there is some, he has a lot of information, and some of it's really good. Sanitation is going to be a big thing. You're going to need water, and you're going to need soap. Being exposed to the elements and sanitation will kill a lot of people, because there's a lot of people just can't handle it. He did a video recently showing that he had bricks of soap. When I say bricks, there's between as few as 6 to as many as 12 bars in the brick. Alright. So go over this over and over and over, the big 5. Water, shelter, food, security, medical. So if you've been doing this a while, hopefully you have all of those covered. And those are just the broad topics. They're not the individual topics. They're not the subcategories. Backup power, so that you can continue to keep food cold if you cook it and you don't eat it all. Alternate means of cooking: rocket stove, propane gas, grill, over the fireplace or in a fire. Do you have a grate? Do you have rocks? Do you have bricks? Do you have all this stuff? Do you drink coffee? Do you have coffee on hand? I'm not talking about a couple cans. I'm talking about 10 to 15 to 20. Or in my case, I try to keep 20 pounds of whole bean on hand. Do you have a way to grind it? Do you have cast iron cookware? Do you have water filtration systems? Do you have fire making tools? Then if you have to leave, do you have a bag? Do you have a way to carry your shit if you're old and you're fucked up and you can't carry heavy things anymore? Do you have backup monetary stuff, backup money that will actually be worth something? Because the fiat currency won't be. You need to understand that I hate doing this because I don't want to scare people, but if we have a big war, resources are going to become scarce. The cities are going to become deserts. because people will realize that it's too hard to survive. Uh, if all your neighbors pitch in and you have a garden, that's fine, but can you protect it? Do you have enough neighbors with security stuff? Guns, bullets. You realize your sling on your weapon can double as many things, especially if you get the sling that can convert from 1 point to 2 points. All right. Do you have weapons? Do you have freedom seeds? And when I say weapons, I'm not just talking about bang sticks. I'm talking about, do you have a cane? Do you have a hatchet? Do you have an axe? Do you have hammers? Do you have a stick? Machete? Some kind of fighting knife? Do you have ferrocium rods? Do you have fire making skills? Do you have, just having Vaseline and cotton balls and a mint tin? You have Bic lighters. If you have to walk out, do you have something to carry water in? Do you have water filtration? Do you have water purification tablets? I've said before for a long time I didn't think gas masks and a gamma radiation detector was worth anything, but if you have to leave and you got one of those detectors and you know how to use it and it starts making noise, then you need to go the other way. All right, there's a Fallout that came math program. I don't know if you can get it online, but I learned it the old slide rule way. There's a certain amount of time that you have to wait after nuclear radiation fallout, where if you can get away from it, then small exposure to it is not the end of the world. You need to understand that antibiotics is one of the reasons we have become long-lived. Long-lived, if you don't know, is anything over 50, 55, 60. A long time ago, that's when people used to die. Dentistry, allowing people's teeth to be replaced so that you can still eat. So, having said all that, you need to make sure you live a little like pumpkin pie. If you got money, having a bug out location wouldn't be a bad idea. So one of the things that I do every year is the pie pans. These are 2-pound pies. I use the tins throughout the year after the pie season. I use them to go to and from the house to the grill. Carry the steaks, carry the fish, carry the potatoes, whatever I put on the grill. All right. Leftover squeeze bottles. If you have lead acid batteries, you can put distilled water in them so you can control how much water you add to your battery. There's a whole thing on battery maintenance that may become a thing. And then you can also use it like I keep a old honey bottle with water in it close to my grill. I've had a couple of grill fires because of the leftover stuff in it. Squirted water on it, put it out. You need to realize there's not going to be any firefighters coming to put a fire out at your house. That was evident during Hurricane Helene in the Northeast, or whatever you want to call it. Eastern Tennessee, Western Carolinas. Comms will go down. Everything with that electricity powers, which is almost everything, will be non-existent. And depending on how it goes down, it may never come back up. So, have you invested in battery bank backup power? Have you invested in solar panels to charge that thing? Have you invested in gas and propane generators? Do you have packs? Do you have buckets? Flashlights? Flashlights specifically that you can recharge. Do you have, a lot of people have utensils in their house, but they're not designed to be used with cast iron because if they're Teflon, they may melt quicker. Excuse me. I'm also having an allergy attack. I was not gonna say anything about the generals thing, but what I didn't say was it's already other people that are smart enough to figure it out. The comms are probably compromised, and I was in the Army for 24 and a half years, and I've had meetings with general officers, or been in meetings with general officers, and there's ways that they could talk to each other, but not like the Secretary of War wants to talk to him. He wants to be able to see him, but there's a good chance that the comms are compromised. So he wants to talk to them about something that he doesn't want the enemy to hear. So I've been saying he got till Tuesday for after the meeting. And then how long after that does something happen? We don't know. There's a lot of shit going on in the world. Do you have sleeping bags? When was the last time you slept on the ground? You're going to have some kind of alarm system. You're going to have some kind of guard duty up 24 hours a day. You're going to have to learn light discipline so that you don't have light escaping your house, so that when somebody's walking by on the street that they see you have light and then they know you're there. Which is why I encourage people to have red lights and white lights. In reality, you won't ever want to use a white light because it can be seen from miles away. Do you have weapons? There are people who will say, well, you only need iron sights. Bullshit. Bullshit. You can use iron sights, but you can't zero a laser with iron sights. You need a scope or a red dot. Now you can zero your iron sights and then lollipop your red dot and then use your laser on that. However, you cannot engage targets at night. That's why they used to have full auto weapons. They weren't shooting pinpoint shots. They weren't shooting designated marksman shots. They were spraying bullets everywhere. All right. You realize if we're fighting a foreign military enemy, or even the cartels are rumored to have full auto weapons, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You're going to need to learn how to shoot and move from cover to cover. You can't just shoot and stay in one place. And then there's ways and reasons why doing all that. It's not just something you do. I can tell you it's harder to hit a moving target than a stationary one. I can shoot rats on the move for about 50% of the time. If they're stationary, they're dead. Right? I'm down to just a few rats right now, and I'm putting out poison again. And then I go out there periodically. I missed one. One night I didn't even shoot, and the second night I missed. So. You're going to need rat shot, and you're going to need a revolver. 9mm rat shot works really good and it's really accurate, but it doesn't cycle my gun at all. So it's one shot, drop the mag, clear the gun, lock the slide to the rear, put the mag back in, rechamber around, and then same process over again to shoot if you miss. How are you gonna deal with snakes? How are you gonna deal with rats? You know, I don't care for cats, but cats are a good thing to have because they eat rats and mice. How are you going to deal with other invasive insects, scorpions, what do you call it? Man, I think I got bit by a mosquito. Ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, flies, all your pest insects. Medical. Do you have antibiotics on hand? Have you visited Jace or that other place and stocked up on some? Do you have Tylenol, which is supposedly, I guess, bad for you now? It's probably never good for us, but apparently it's really bad for you. You have naproxen. You have way to make ice. Do you have a bow and arrow? Minimum 35-pound draw, but preferably 50 or better. Is it sighted in? Can you engage something with it? Do you have outdoor footwear that's broken in that you can wear? Do you have backup footwear? Because realize if this comes to pass, there's no more going to the store. Almost for anything. Now, at some point in time later, there may be a junk market pop up. You know, realize that people are going to crave everything we lost. All right. So, I can tell you, I went a little over 24 hours without my primary house AC. And I was not a happy person. Even with the house cooled off with other types of AC, they didn't keep the house as cool as the central AC. But summer's almost over. Excuse me. I'm fighting an allergy attack. Winter's coming. Do you have firewood? The firewood I plan to burn this winter is stuff I bought last year. I bought 3 truckloads this year. They're stacked. One stack fell, but they're stacked. That's for next year. So you need to have an idea of how much firewood you're going to burn. And realize you're going to burn more if you're using a rocket stove or a wood-burning fireplace to cook on and to heat your food or make coffee. Do you have a percolator? Do you have a manual grinder? Do you have a manual can opener, P38 or P39? I would recommend both of those. You can get them at Military Surplus or maybe Amazon. Do you have a manual can opener? Do you have canned goods, vegetables, fruit, meat, soups? Do you have noodles? Do you have beans? Do you have rice? You know, this prepping thing, for me, has grown into a monster, but it's just like, it's very, very, very hard to turn it off. It's very, very hard not to see all the possibilities of that things go bad. And then you see all these natural disasters, Hurricane Helene, the Texas flooding 80 miles north of here. And then there was flooding in San Antonio not too long after that and killed 3 people because they're stupid and they drove around barriers. And in one case, there was no barriers up, but they had a flash flood and washed them away. What about pet food? What about pet medicines, fleas and stuff? What about, because you're going to be exposed to more animals, and your dogs, if they chase animals, are going to be exposed to more animals. If they get rabies, you're going to have to shoot them. Can you do that? we don't know what being hungry is like in America. Haven't known. Even the motherfuckers that say they're hungry, they ain't hungry. Not like people in foreign worlds are. Not like people in third world countries are. Not where like Africa, where the young, well, they're not babies, but the toddlers got distended stomachs because they're not getting enough food. If you haven't read 1 Second After in that whole book series, I highly recommend it. It's the world we live in now. I live mostly in the country. The sheriff's 25 minutes away with a report of shots fired. It's going to be a bad day if I get an opportunity and somebody fucking comes on my property at night and they're up to no good. I mean, it's not really an opportunity. It's just a bad situation. But, in the last 3 months, we were starting to see more vagrants on this side of town. Like, we're seeing people that clearly don't live in the area because they're homeless. Didn't really see that down here. Now we're seeing it. And realize as a human, we actually need people in our lives. We need that interaction. We're not really wired to be alone. Do you have cereal? You can buy butter. Land O'Lakes is something we keep on hand. I buy 5 or 6 and then we work through them, and then I buy more. Those stay really well in a refrigerator for a very long time. Same thing with cheese. Definitely don't buy cheese you're not going to eat, but if there's a type of cheese you like, you can buy a couple bricks of that shit and put it in the fridge. It'll keep for a long time. If you don't know how to make corn maze or the flour tortillas that you can make into chips if you have a fryer, do you have oil? Do you have meat put aside that's fresh and that's frozen? Do you have frozen meals available that you can eat quickly? Do you have MRE on hand or something, type of MRE, civilian or military, something you can eat? You can make one with crackers, cheese, and a small can of tuna and some sweets and some other stuff. Do you have baby wipes? Because the days of you fucking taking a 20 or 30 minute shower are over. You'll be lucky to get a bath every 15 days, depending on what's going on, or even if you have that capability. Other than that, it's going to be a whore bath. 1 Second After portrays type 1 diabetics dying, old people dying, medical staff that is already critically low will be even more critically low. You'll see a side of humanity that you've never seen before. The book depicts cannibalism in the big cities. People eating motherfuckers because they're so fucking hungry. Lawlessness. And then if you catch people like that, what do? There's no prisons anymore at that point. You let them go, they'll probably come back. You're going to have to shoot them. Do you have fishing gear? Do you have hunting gear? It'll be slim pickings after about 90 days, but, sometimes you get lucky. Do you have waterproof M80s that you can drop in water, set them off, the percussion will fucking shock the fish and they'll float to the top, and you can scoop them up and process them? Can you process fish? Can you process wild game? Do you have chickens on hand? Do you have turkeys on hand? Do you have cows? Do you have pigs? I know somebody who eats fucking peacock eggs. If you don't have septic and you don't have water, you're shitting in a bucket or you're shitting in the woods. Ladies, once in a while you might be able to do, but doing it every fucking time, you probably ain't gonna like that. Your ability to stop and relax and have fun will be greatly reduced. I'm serious. If things go shitty, 90% of your time will be on security and food. Everything else has to fit in that 10%. So I'm pushing 25 minutes. Just do your research. I've been telling people for 6 months now. The rest of the fucking world is telling their populations to prepare for war. The U.S. has yet to do it. I haven't seen it. Which begs the question of why. You know the dollar is on the slide, downward slide. It's on the way out. Are you buying precious metals? At this point, if you haven't bought some, it's going to be really expensive to buy. Do you have land? Do you own your house? Are you paying off debt? Are you debt free? For most people, the answer to all of that is no. So, including me. So, do you have a group that you can depend upon? That people will collect around you and you'll build a group? Preferably already have one, but if you don't, do you have people? All right. So, just think about it. It's a long list to deal with. And it stresses a lot of people out. Some people can't take it. Having said all that, information is knowledge and power. Live a little, prep a lot, share love. G Prepper, out.